Jason, as it is each and every week, the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Hey, you know, we keep saying it. Those are good people. This is why we partner with them. They are hosting another good community event this Thursday, October 10th, a happy hour event in support of Hope House.
You got it. This is part of a larger campaign called the Why I Care campaign. If you've been poking around on social media, you may have seen a bit of it on there. They're hosting the event. They're trying to raise money, as they do so often during the course of every year, for a good cause, this one being Hope House.
For more information on that one, go visit the Budget Blinds of Lee Summit Facebook page. You can see that event, get all of the details. And then, hey, when you want some window shades, some window treatments, some other things for your house, go visit our friends at Budget Blinds of Lee Summit right in the heart of downtown. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you.
All hail our robot shade overlords.
Hello and welcome to this Friday Conversation episode of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and in honor of that, I would like to replay a conversation I had last April. This was a strange conversation for me to have. It was a conversation with my own wife, who in April celebrated her 5-year cancer-free anniversary. And while my wife Stephanie and I talk a lot, this was the first time that we'd sat down and talked about it purposefully in a manner that maybe all others could understand. And it was interesting for me to hear her try to explain some of the feelings and the other conversations that we've had together in a manner that's meant for other people. And so this was an interesting conversation to have, an interesting conversation for me to listen to then when we posted it, and even now, 6 months later, well, 5 years and 6 months later, to sit down and hear the way that she talks about the experience that she went through and how it's changed her life, our lives, and given new perspective as we look to the future. You will hear that much of the conversation centers around a word that she has now tattooed on her wrist. That word is next. Here's that conversation. You told me a few weeks ago that you were ready to sit down and talk. You are celebrating right now. I'm going to say we are.
Yeah, definitely.
But really, it's all about you. We are celebrating your 5-year cancer-free anniversary.
That's weird.
You are a breast cancer survivor. And to do that, you came to me several months ago and said, I don't want just a party all about me.
No.
You wanted to do something good for other people.
Yes.
And you wanted to raise awareness. So Live Next is a weird, it's not the catchy name I think that a lot of cancer awarenesses have. And there's a story behind it. So the reason really I wanted you to come on and help us promote this event that's all about you. I'm trying to earn some.
It's not all about me.
I'm trying to earn some marriage brownie points.
Yeah.
What is next? Why live next? That word has a lot of meaning to you. It's tattooed on your arm.
It is.
Which was maybe right around your 1 year when you got that?
It was right after the 1 year, because I said, as soon as I can get to 1 year, I'm going to get a tattoo. That's going to be the thing I do.
Which, for people that don't know us, that in itself
right. That's why I kind of
was a change in our personalities.
Yes. But you know what? When you are given scars throughout all that, you're given all these marks and everybody's poked you and everything taken over your body, you have one final control of your own. And so that's what I thought the tattoo would be. to do that.
I enjoyed watching you get tattooed more than I did doctors marking you and poking
Did you?
you and things like that. The tattoo was a much more pleasant experience for me to watch.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can say pleasant experience, but but I do enjoy it. I like it. So I do have Next on my arm.
So, what is next? People see that, they ask, they're going to ask, why are we calling this Live Next? What is next?
Right. Well, to me, next is better. Everything was going to be better. So, I like to follow I like to have some control over things, as you know. I know, I do. So and of course, going through cancer, which I still trip over that word, but going through cancer, you don't have any control. So everything is taken out of your control. So if there was any control of mine, it was to be able to have some kind of like a checklist, be able to say, okay, if I made it through this part, I knew I could get to the next part and the next part and the next part. And if we could get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, eventually I knew that everything was going to be better. And so you just had to get past next. So kind of thinking, okay, I don't know, next, I guess, is, can you edit that out?
No, I can't, and I refuse
Yes,
to.
you can.
Well, I think it is confusing, and for me, it was just that we had to go things one at a time. There was one step, then the next step, and then the next step, and it was about finding one thing to control, and from my point of view, from the caretaker point of view. It was also a sense of lack of control. So it was here's one thing, I can get you to chemo.
Right.
I can, by the way, I got to give you shots at one point. That was fun. So husbands, if you've ever wanted a reason to stab your spouses.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a fun way to do it, but we made jokes about that. That was fun. But I mean, it was here's one thing I can do that I can participate. I can have a sense of control.
Right.
And I think for you, it was, if I get through this,
right,
I get to the next thing, and that's one step closer to being finished.
Right.
And you did not want to focus on the finish line, which was, almost 2 years after diagnosis.
Right.
You wanted to focus on the next thing. And for people that know you, they know you love lists and you really love directions and following directions.
I do. Which
so for you,
I have to do a lot of, but
for you, this was a long list of directions to do.
Yes, too many. But, next is saying, okay, what can I look forward to? What can I get to? And to me, next is the ultimate, and you didn't know, I didn't want to count on too much, trying to see too much of the future, because I knew that would be a little bit rough to do. So if I could just see, okay, I can conquer this part. I can conquer I could conquer the first chemo. I could get past the fourth chemo. I could get past chemo altogether. And then, okay, next let's get through surgeries. Let's get through radiation. Let's get through all this. And then to even think that now it's actually 5 years, which they told me would go fast. They said you will get to 5 years. It was hard to see, but I've gotten there. And I think so Live Next is being able to figure out, okay, your new life. You have a new life. You have a new way of living, and really appreciating everything you've gone through with that next.
I've tried to explain to people how that new way of living is. And it's hard, and it seems cliche to me, but
is. Yeah.
of priorities change, and you learn what's important, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I feel like I'm giving some, motivational speech that's really cheesy, and I should be at some convention or something. But I wanted. This is weird because you and I talk, but now we seem like all formal, and this isn't just us sitting, around the table or on the porch with a fancy beverage. What is the new life? How is that? How would you explain that to other people? We explain it to each other all the time, but I don't know that we explain it to other people together.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say it, a new life. I guess, probably the biggest thing is just knowing that, how to enjoy each other and how to enjoy little things, I guess. But then also, big things. I don't know. I enjoy working because I can. And when you're going through all that stuff, I had to miss out on a lot of working and being with my kids at school. But so now I enjoy that. I like having that stress. It sounds weird. I don't enjoy that stress. No, no, I like I'm able to go and do those things. I'm able to enjoy all of it. When you go through all this, it's a total fog. Everything is a fog. And things have now kind of cleared up and you can enjoy things again. And your new body is kind of getting back to it's a new normal, I guess.
That's another weird cliche to me.
A new normal?
Yeah. I mean, it's what we say about other people and other things. That's what we say after national disasters. That's what we say after
a new normal.
Shootings, or tornadoes, or it doesn't seem like the thing you say about a personal event.
I think you do. I mean, it's a new thing. It's a new way. You change your thoughts. You notice things that you never even knew existed before. You notice people who, are going through it, and you have a sense of, what they are going through and appreciation for what they're going through. And, when you didn't even know. I mean, for example, you learn all these new words. You learn everything about medicine and medical everything. I mean, that's a new normal. That's not right. That's not what we used to know.
Is it different for you now when you meet other people? I mean, like, we've always known people who have had cancers, and it's a part of all of everyone's lives. We all know someone or know someone who knows someone, but is there effect now that where you meet somebody that's going through it or somebody who has a relative that's going through it, does your reaction change?
Yes. I hate it. I guess I had this, I don't know, I have this whole it's personal to me. It was my disease. It was my thing that I have gone through and I have, and no one else should do it. It's mine, which is so selfish in a way. But I guess because it's mine, it was such a horrible thing to go through that I don't wish that on anyone. And there are people that go through it and they go through so much worse than that. And so when I hear that, it's like, if I could just take that away from you, for you, if you did not have to go through that, I wish you wouldn't have to, because I did it. It should be over. No one else should have to face that. So it's a real personal, it's a very personal thing. And that's hard, I guess.
Is it hard to tell that story? Is it hard to, even when you meet other people, whether they're going through it or not, is it hard to explain that perspective?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said that, because it feels, I've told you that before. But
stop hitting my microphone.
Sorry, you said to talk with your hands. No, I've told you that before, but to say that something is mine like this, who wants breast cancer to be yours, But so no, I don't think I've ever said that part, because I don't know. I have friends now going through this, and it's hard, it hurts your heart, because you think, okay, if they could see the future, if I could have, if I would have believed my doctors that said it's going to go fast, my doctors that said you're going to be great, you're going to be fine. If I could have believed that and seen that, I would have, okay, that would have been fantastic. But to know that I couldn't see that at the time, and the people that are going through it now may not be able to see that. And I wish I could just, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to get there. I wish I could.
Do you feel like now you have this need then to be the light at the end of the tunnel for when you meet people that are going through it, to say, hey, look,
yeah,
you can do it. You can get through.
Right.
How weird is that?
I don't know
Is it weird? Is it a calling?
No. I don't think calling. That's weird. Calling. That's weird. No, I don't think it's a calling. I guess it's more just an urge of just being able to tell people you're okay. You're going to be whole again. You're going to be fine. But knowing it would be hard to take that and be able, it's hard to believe that when you're in it.
Well, and I think that's where that whole next thing comes back into play, is because it's hard to see 24 months down the road.
No.
But if I focus on just this one step.
Right. Just look at what's next. What is the very next thing? So every year when we've gotten, 1 year cancer-free, 2 years cancer-free, those are things that were fantastic to celebrate. That was the next thing to get to, And I mean, that's better than birthdays even, is to celebrate that year of cancer-free.
I got to tell you, not that I don't love your birthdays. Your birthday month.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this always feels more celebratory, or more reason to celebrate.
Oh yeah.
Than anything else. And we this year we both took a day off of work, and we went out and had fun. But yeah, we did it. Feels a much better, even though it doesn't feel like it's been 5 years to me.
No.
At all.
No, not at all. No. And no, it doesn't feel like it's been 5 years.
Well, I want to go back to the event and the next. And
okay.
We toyed around a lot with what to call this thing.
Yeah.
And I think because there are so many different words that people use. Mm-hmm. And some of those words you like, and some you don't. And I remember you and I had a fun conversation. I think, okay, it wasn't fun. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Here I am. I got to choose my words better. When all of it started, when you were first diagnosed and the treatments were started, you started to read a book that someone recommended to you, and we talked about all those words of survivor, of warrior, of fighter, of hero, all these fighting words.
Right.
There are some of those you don't like.
No, and I think everybody kind of, you grab onto different words. There's things like warrior and fight like a girl, pink. I don't know. The things that I have accepted, or the things that I don't mind. I like the idea of survivor. Our doctor told us that, once you're diagnosed, you're considered a survivor. The second you're diagnosed.
Yeah, that was weird when she said that to you, because
Yes.
that was your first or second chemo treatment?
Yes. You're a survivor. The second you're diagnosed, you're a survivor. You're considered cured after the surgery, which, she thought, which Dr. Graff, that's our doctor who at Menorah, amazing woman who, and really all of our doctors, they were amazing for us.
Here's one thing we learned. Kansas City has rock stars in the cancer world. Rock star doctors, and Dr. Stephanie Graff through Menorah and the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center. Amazing. She led that team, and I'm unable right now
I know.
to think of all the doctors' names, because you had a team.
Yes, Dr.
Of
Canova,
doctors.
Dr. Graff, Dr. McCroskey. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They were just a huge team of doctors. And then the chemo ward, the nurses in there, they're angels, just amazing. But Dr. Graff had said, you are a survivor when you are diagnosed, which I never realized that. I thought survivor means that you are over everything. You're done. That would be a survivor. But, when you think about it, yeah, you're right. You're not a survivor unless you're diagnosed. It's been found. We can get help for you now, kind of thing. That's what the survivor meant. And then you were cured when you had surgery. So, which Dr. Graff also joked that, the
The surgeon's
got
surgeon
all the
gets
credit.
glory.
So, but no, you're cured after surgery. So I like that. But Survivor is good for me. Survivor I like. I don't mind the pink. Pink became a new adopted color, kind of thrown at us.
Yeah, we have more pink in our house now than we had
Ever
in the
did.
first 10, 15 years of our marriage.
Exactly. So, but that's fine with me. But then there are other ones like Warrior. I mean, I yeah, incredible muscles I have, I'm sure, but definitely not a warrior. I'm not a warrior out there. I don't know. Just warrior just doesn't fit me, and I don't care for it for myself. Fight like a girl. I don't know. I feel like I could fight like a guy. I could fight however I want to, but that one I just never cared for. So I think it kind of just depends on who how you take things and what works for you, and whatever works for you, you take. That book that you said, it was ABCs of Breast Cancer by, she's a reporter. She was a reporter on NPR. I'll have to look up. Sorry, hit your mic again. But an incredible book that spoke to me, and something that I would read, an alphabet at a time, an alphabet letter at a time. That really, it worked for me. She said exactly what was in my head, exactly what I was feeling.
What were some things in that struck with you? Do you remember some of those chapters or excerpts that kind of really connected?
Gosh, trying to remember. A lot of it was, no, we're gonna have to come back to that. I cannot remember right now. It was things that I thought I was the only one going through, but to read what she wrote, it was written in a way that, oh, I'm not the only one going through this, that other people know exactly how I'm feeling, because it's a pretty lonely time, which is weird because you have all the support in the world. You have your family, you have extended family, you have friends, you have coworkers, you have everybody around you that are supporting you. But when it comes down to it, it can be a really lonely thing too, because that's it. You're the one that's doing the treatments. You're the one that's having to fight the whole time, And so it can be pretty lonely. So when you find somebody that can speak with the words that you're trying to speak, which you can tell I'm having a hard time doing that, it's something to grab onto. And that was definitely a book that I really enjoyed.
I didn't tell you ahead of time that I was going to go into that whole kind of lonely feeling thing, so you can be mad at me. I haven't given you a reason to be mad at me for a while, so
No.
But yeah, explain that. I think because that's interesting to me as my reporter brain, not husband brain.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by these people. You've got doctors around you all the time, but it's got to be. Especially, look, you don't like people helping you.
No.
You are very independent.
That's
You like to tackle things and solve problems and puzzles all on your own. You like to prove how awesome you are, and you are awesome.
Thanks.
But that has to also be a very weird feeling, in that you're surrounded by all these people. And I'm pretty sure that we probably smothered you with our attention a lot. But to be surrounded by all these people love you and are trying to do whatever they can.
Right.
But you probably felt like you were in a very foggy bubble.
It was very foggy, and it was a bubble, and a weird tunnel of just no one else can get in this to understand exactly what it is. And, you don't until you go through it, I guess, And so I think, that's why, people that are going through it, you get that. You understand. You have all these people that my gosh, all the people that gave us food and would come over and clean for us and do all, that was amazing and stuff. And so, you're right. You don't think that you'd be lonely during that time, but it's really, you're the only one that feels all of it. And it's a lot of just those emotional scars that I know it's really hard to explain. And lonely.
Well,
it's hard. I don't know.
All of us like to show our independence and our ability to be strong, right? Everybody wants to be strong. And I was just thinking about, while you were saying that, I was thinking about the joke I made about giving you shots. Mm-hmm. That had to be really hard for you to give in, and I'm going to let my husband give me a shot.
Right.
And do all of these things that I feel like I should. I mean, not even just the medicine, but do all of these things that I feel like I should be able to take care of myself, and I'm not. And you had to do a lot of surrendering.
I had to do a lot of surrendering because there's a lot of things that you had to do for me. A lot of things. And
by the way, the only one I can remember are the shots.
Really? There was so much that you had to do for me. Well, so many different surgeries. It's not just chemo and radiation you go through. I mean, your body just gets so beat up that it ends up being other things that you have to do. I mean, it affects everything with you. And so you end up having, a lot of reconstruction that I had to go through, that then I couldn't lift things right, the same, or I couldn't walk the same. I couldn't do things the same. And gosh, you had to do so much for me, which was annoying. Because
at least something was consistent.
Well, that's true. You enjoyed it a lot, I know, but no, I
look, enjoyment, not the right word choice.
You liked telling me what to do. You
this is
enjoy
true.
That a little bit.
This is true.
A lot.
That was look in 20 years of marriage, that was the one time
Right.
I got that.
I am one that if you tell me I can't do something, oh yeah, let me show you what I can do. And I had to give that up then, that's for sure. That was not cool. But, so yeah, I think at that point, that again is something you can't control. It's something that, okay, you're with me all the time, and somebody was with me all the time, and I don't know, you still know that you're the only one that's feeling the, the actual pain and the actual emotions that you are going through. Yes.
Is it still lonely? Somebody didn't turn.
You did not turn off the phone. Yeah, it can be. I think it can be. It's better now. I mean, it was. Yeah, and I think I'm starting to, it kind of. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. Now that we've gotten to this point of, I don't have to go see a doctor anymore. Now that I'm at 5 years, she's fired me.
That was an amazing moment in life.
But it was scary as all get out. I mean, that's that in itself, I think, is lonely. You said you weren't going to do this to me, because I'm not going to have that reassurance every 6 months that it's okay. I don't have that next appointment, to go to, So I guess that's kind of lonely in a way.
So it's a little mix of celebration that you don't have to, but trepidation but how am I going to know every day?
Right, exactly. Because you have a constant fear of it coming back. And even though she said it's nearly 0% chance that that's going to, well, there's that nearly that's still there. And, and you don't have somebody to say, oh, it's okay, everything's fine, stop freaking out, it's all good. And somebody to say, you have to come and see me so I can tell you what it is. You don't have somebody demanding that you come in and see them so that they can tell you that it's okay. Now I have to choose to go and see somebody and make them tell me that it's okay. And in a way, I think that's a little bit, that's hard to accept that that's going to be okay.
What if I say you're okay? Does that count?
Of course. Whatever. No. Yeah.
This is a very weird thing.
Yeah, it's weird. That's because you're weird.
Well, this ain't new. You said earlier, you talked about, I'm gonna keep going back to this live next. You said earlier about how, there's still even next thing. Life is different. Not just your perspective, but life is different. And you have always said there are still things that never go away. That, yes, I'm a survivor. Yes, I'm healthy again, but there are still things that are different. You've had surgeries and reconstructive surgeries, so it means some muscle groups are gone. And like you said earlier, you can't lift the same way or as much as you used to be able to, which is fine because we like to make our son do most of the work now. And you there's lymphedema. You had lymph nodes taken out, and so this is a very common thing with cancer patients. As lymph nodes are taken out, that you will have to deal with lymphedema. If whenever we fly, you have to wear a compression sleeve, and these aren't the sleeves you go buy at the sporting goods store for $20. These are $90, $100 a pop. You go through about 2 a year.
I should go through more.
You should go through more. Insurance doesn't cover those things, which we've learned a lot about health insurance over the last 5 years. I think that's another reason why you use the word next. And when we made the logo and the flyer for all of this, which you can go to the Facebook event, Live Next. Yes. I'm gonna pimp link to Lee's Summit there a little bit. Go to our Facebook page, find the event. It's going around. But we say detection, treatment, life.
Yes.
Life is awesome, but there are still next things you have to deal with, and that's important to you to not only raise awareness for the detection part and treatment. We're collecting hats and scarves for people who are going through the treatment, but there are things you have to do after you win.
Right.
After you're healthy. And so I kind of wanted you to talk about that part of the next.
Yeah. Well, afterwards, I guess, it's not over. You think, okay, well, I've made it through all the treatments and the surgeries and stuff, but it's not over. Your body reminds you every day that you've gone through this. You have scars I have scars all over the front, my back. I have tattoos, not just my fun tattoo, but I have tattoos from radiation. They give you little tattoo marks all over, so you have those as reminders. And then, I have lymphedema now, which, can happen. I have nearly all my lymph nodes taken out on my right side. And because of that, then my arm just gets really sore. It can swell up. It feels really heavy. But it's a constant reminder that I had this big C, that I had the big C.
You had cancer.
I had cancer. And so that is one, but you have, the chemo brain took forever to get rid of, and I think it tries to come back and rear its ugly head every once in a while too. A lot. But so that, and and so you have to, everybody helps you during it and is all with you during it, exceptional. But then afterwards your body reminds you every day that you're going through this and it's not over and it never will be over. You also just have the fear of it coming back. And so that's a constant thing too, is to remind yourself, okay, you have to let that go and be able to live that life, accept the next things that are coming and remember that, you can't just let yourself go into those fears, and make sure that you do live the next and you keep going to enjoy everything you possibly can because you were blessed with being able to stay here and do it all.
Because we've talked about your empathy and your reactions to meeting new people, meeting people that are going through it, have just been diagnosed or in the middle of treatment or are survivors as well. Although I guess we should say they're all survivors. You just reminded me of that story that I had forgotten. I'd actually forgotten that talk from Dr. Graff about you're a survivor the minute we find it, and I'd forgotten that, and now I'm remembering how awesome that was.
Yes.
So for those people, when you're still feeling lonely, when you're still dealing with the next things, the lymphedema, the creep back of the chemo foggy brain, which nice excuse.
Thanks.
What can you turn to? What do you turn to ease the fear, the lonely?
Well, you.
Oh, shucks.
And of course, our Charlie. And friends. We had dear friends. And I just have to, and making plans, making those lists. Okay, so yeah, that it was scary, telling yourself, yeah, it was scary, but you did it. You got it. You got to the next. And I have to talk myself out of it. And it's just a lot of that self-talk and that breathing just to get out of it, get out of the funk and know that, you know what? No, I did it. We did it. We got out of it. And there's a reason why we've made it now 5 years, and this really is real. It really is okay. And now I can actually say, to others too, yeah, it really truly will be okay. You will be okay. And but sometimes I think I tried groups, and I know there are groups out there that you can go and talk to, support groups and things. It didn't quite work for me, but I know for some people it would work, and they should try it out. And because talking to others who are going through it, sometimes even that are past it, and you realize, oh, we have those same weird aches and pains, the same things. And so, okay, it is kind of normal. That is okay. And yeah, it's, I don't know, that's what gets you out. I mean, just to realize you've got to make those plans, and you've got to, what can you do next and live that life that's not breast cancer, but live the life that's after it and keep going.
I'm trying to think of something awesome, like, great words to wrap up and finish it. And I've got nothing, because that was pretty awesome.
Thanks.
And this is the most surreal interview I've ever done in my life. And
it's probably going to be one you're going to have to edit a lot. Be like, okay, gosh, she was terrible. Remind me not to ever do her again.
I want to finish one thing. Here's another thing I didn't tell you I was going to do.
Oh, goodness.
You, at some urging from me, you did a little writing about next and what it meant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to read the first part of that for people, because I think it really, I think it says a lot as to what that word means to you, why we are calling this Live Next, and why we continue to use that word that we may or may not have stolen from a famous TV writer. We're not going to admit to it right now.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just for that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it happens to be. Maybe he took it from us. Okay. Next. So next to me means after, then, looking forward, looking forward to, I made it, I did it, we did it. So I have next on my arm, it was my word, our word, for what made sense in respect to facing what I had to do to be well. I had breast cancer. I still struggle to say it out loud. It gets stuck in the back of my throat. I trip over the words when I say them, and I don't say it often. It's something I struggle even today to accept. Something that never seemed real in a way, I guess. But it couldn't have been more real. For it being something I struggled to make real and still do, it's something that is mine. Why I would want something to be mine that I hardly even recognize is a really strange feeling. However, there are so many people that I've known to be diagnosed to be fighting this disease. When I hear of someone being diagnosed, it breaks me. It stops me in my tracks. I don't think anyone should go through it. I did it. It should never be over. It's done. That doesn't make sense, even when what I went through is nothing compared to what others have faced and are facing now. It's a terrible, terrible club to be part of, for sure. I've never thought of what I went through as a story. You know, so many times they ask you what your story is, and I have a hard time with that. A story has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. But I don't have an end to this because this is something that will forever be part of me. Daily aches and pains, scars, radiation, tattoos are all physical reminders. Emotional scars that cause anxiety, fear, worry, dates that pop up in the calendar and on Facebook to remind me what happened. These are all ways that say a story isn't over. Plus, I love stories. I love reading stories. I'd rather think of this as a journey, a major life lesson, a huge life lesson, major life lesson. That's what next is to me.
You have been listening to Lee Summit Town Hall, a Link to Lee Summit podcast with hosts Nick Parker and Jason Norberry. A proud member of the Fredcast Network, you can subscribe to this podcast on most of your favorite podcast apps and catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the news, analysis, and conversations on the Lee Summit community. Connect with us on Facebook at Link to Lee Summit or on Twitter at LS Town Hall.